Thank you, Ciarán, and welcome the opportunity to contribute to this debate tonight on the Northern Ireland and the structures there. And I suppose that this debate arises from the attempt in the last week or so, or 2 weeks, to get the institutions back up and running again, and the discussions that were held in Belfast with the various parties to try and get those institutions back going again. And ultimately they do have to be got going, and the Irish government is going to have to be very strong in arguing for the reinstatement of them. And ultimately the flaw in the Good Friday Agreement is that the British are seen as being neutral when we see all their actions over the last while in courting the DUP for the support of their government in Westminster shows that they aren't neutral, and they never have been neutral. And that is the crux of the problem at all stages within the North as we see it now. But I suppose the only way to get around that and defeat that is to get the structures back up and running again, and get the assembly back up and running, and perhaps maybe through doing its work and the outworkings of that at some stage in the future we'll see that actually politics will have a future in the 6 counties and so on, and that might show that there is a way forward. But I think if our government has to be very strong in arguing with the British government and putting the British government their responsibility straight on the line, and that they are part of the problem, they have to be part of the solution as well, and they have to live up to their agreements that they have made, and the international agreements that they have made as well, and that's vitally important. Unfortunately, and I think it has been mentioned here by a number of speakers, but the tragic death of Lyra McKee and her murder during the disturbances in Derry some time ago has been very difficult. And I think the sad part about it is that the getting together of the institutions again will not actually, very quickly anyway, resolve any of the reasons why that she ended up that she was killed. And I think that's tragic, but I think it's the only option that's there at the moment is to get those institutions up and running, and I think it's the only option that's left open for the governments to make sure that happens. So I think that the only thing that we can do is to ensure that the parties that we can influence here are on board to get the institutions going again. But I think that our government, and as a House, we have to be sure that our government is strong in forcing the British government to actually act in relation to this, because that, I think, is the key of it. And if they can force the British government and make the British government live up to their responsibilities, then we might see actually the institutions get up and running again. And then we might see, unfortunately, a very long way down the road, that the causes of the conflict might be reduced somewhat. But ultimately, the only way that we can reduce the cause of conflict is by getting the British out entirely out of the 6 counties, and then we can deal with the issues in relation to ourselves, in relation to a 32-county Ireland, and that is ultimately the only way that this is going to be resolved once and for all. Thank you.